Up-and-coming Filipino artist BEY just released her second single, Nevermind, under Universal Records on June 4, 2021. Now, since her debut as an artist at the start of the year, BEY has been engaged in numerous media guestings both internationally and, of course, here at home. And although the young artist currently resides in Los Angeles, this hasn't stopped her from participating in benefit concerts in the Philippines. All right, so you are abroad in sunny LA right now. How's the weather there?
Today was pretty gloomy. So gloomy but hot LA, but yeah, it's supposed to be summertime.
So 100% Filipino, you kind of you went back and forth a lot between the Philippines. Where did you grow up here in the Philippines? Or where is your family from in the Philippines? Mine is from Pampanga, for example. Yours is?
My family is kind of all over the place. I think I have family. Well, I have family in Manila. I have family in like Alabang, so
okay.
I don't exactly know where they all are, but they're all kind of spread out. I was kind of just hopping around. I've actually never been to Davao though, so
you and I both.
I have family
so
there.
We definitely have to make that on our future go-to list. So how do you manage the jet lag flying back and forth between the States and the Philippines, for example?
Yeah, so I honestly just try not to sleep. Or, I mean, if I know that I'm coming in early in the morning, I try to sleep a majority of the time on the plane, just so I know I can, like, sleep when it's nighttime over there and wake up and then, kind of just start a day and not have to worry about jet lag. But it still kind of kicks me in the butt, usually. Yeah, I kind of just try to force myself to stay up, but I always taking naps in between, so it doesn't really work out. I feel like jet lag just always wins.
So your mom is the mastermind behind MMI Live, and they do a lot of concerts and events in the Philippines. I just have to ask, have you actually met Jokoy's mom? And is his mom actually the way he portrays her to be?
So when I was I actually worked that show backstage. I was helping like with and everything. I don't think I met her. I don't know if she was there, and if she was, then I completely missed her. But no, I didn't meet her. But apparently, yeah, everybody thinks she's like the stereotypical fob Filipino mom. But I feel like everybody kind of portrays their mom like that, especially nowadays for some reason, even if your mom doesn't have an accent completely, it's just funny.
Let me preface my next comment with, Mom, I do love you, but my mom is headed towards that direction. She's around 50, 60, so I feel like she's headed towards the direction that Joy exactly describes when Filipino moms get older. But your mom's looking good, so I'm happy that you guys are working together. I'm sure she helps you a lot with your budding music career.
Oh yeah, she's definitely helped. Well, she actually helped set the foundation, obviously, just because of MMI. That gave me a musical background. I was able to grow up, and I'm very privileged to be able to kind of see the background and the production of every like show that I was able to go to growing up. So I got to see not only how like artists were backstage, but also just how concerts came to life. So I really got another perspective of how music was, not only from like listening to it on the radio and using that to bond with friends and family, but also kind of just like a holistic view of the music industry in a sense.
I'm personally curious. Like, I've heard stories like when MTV used to actually talk about music, they would have these like stories about how Mariah Carey would only want red Skittles, and assistants would have to remove all the other Skittles. Have you ever had to do anything like that? Like, you had an artist come in and he says, "I only want the blue Skittles." Is
Never
anyone like that? Can you share?
But I've definitely seen what artists have requested, and it's usually like if someone's vegan, they request like, oh, no meat or whatever, or like somebody's requested like a really expensive particular type of champagne, stuff like that. But it's never like, I only want the red Skittles. I want some.
I can imagine. You're picking out all the Skittles?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be able to.
All right, your most memorable backstage experience, because you've probably had a lot of them, and the one that will always like stick with you, like, this dude or this girl was so great.
Memorable. I don't even know who that. Oh, when I was younger, I actually went to the Pussycat Dolls concert with my mom because she produced it there. I was really young, and I remember I went to one of their PR events. I know that they were having some kind of like interview or something. It was like a conference, and I don't know her name, and I feel so bad for just kind of calling her this.
I
this,
feel
but
you. It's okay.
one of them has red hair.
The one with red hair.
Red hair. I remember like I saw like Nicole and everybody, and then the girl with the red hair, like they were like waving because I was a little girl, so obviously like people like love little kids. So like they saw me, they were like waving at me, and I remember being so excited. Like I wasn't even I was a pretty big fan of like Stick With You and like everything.
Yeah.
Not bad, but like Buttons, but I was a little girl. I didn't understand at the time, but I just love them just because like looking up to like other women who were in the industry, and they were super nice, just like waving at me. I was like, oh my gosh, they're so nice. I love them. I'm like their number one fan now. So it stuck with me. Just that one little.
And Nicole also being of Filipino descent as well is probably you looked up to her, and that's why you remember her name specifically, not the one with black hair.
Sorry, I feel bad. I should probably learn it.
It's all right. It's an unexpected question. Now, your debut single, "Crash Landing," is I'm not that huge of a fan of K-dramas, but that's coming from Crash Landing on You, which I definitely heard a lot about on Twitter and stuff.
Yes,
Inspired by
the K-drama.
Like the love aspect of it, the growth aspect of it. Like when you write your music, what is it something you're taking from? You're young. You're 20, 21, 22?
Yeah, 21.
So 21, turning 22. Your music is inspired by Crash Landing. Like, what was the inspiration behind that?
Well, it was actually written by Eunice Jorge of Grace Note at Eunice. And she was such a big help and a mentor for me when it came to starting off, especially in the pandemic, just because I was very new to, writing my own music, being able to produce everything, especially on my own since I'm on the other side of the world. So it kind of started off, the conversation started off with us kind of talking about what we've been doing over the pandemic. And K-drama was really like blowing up at the time, especially Crash Landing on You. So he asked me if I was watching K-dramas, and the first thing she said was, have you watched Crash Landing? And I was like, no, I haven't. So the song had come first before me actually watching and finishing Crash Landing, the K-drama, which is really ironic. But yeah, I mean, it's a really good K-drama that a lot of people start off on, and I think it's a really nice relationship to kind of follow along. Like you really see their growth as you continue watching the series, and that's kind of what the song is based on.
All right, so I'm curious about your musical tastes. If I grabbed your phone somehow, like the Ring kind of way, and I open your Spotify playlist, what do I see? Like, what is your top playlist? What's the playlist you tend to go back to, maybe when you're working out, or like these artists, these songs, internationally and locally?
Oh my gosh, I have a mix. Like right now on repeat, I've been listening to "Stay" by Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber. A lot of Ariana Grande. I've been listening to more K-pop, like just the K-pop playlist that Spotify creates. I kind of just put it on shuffle when I'm like getting ready for an interview.
I'm totally feeling Permission to Dance. Are you liking Permission to Dance from BTS?
It's so catchy.
I was like, when I heard it, I was like, that sounds like a song or two that I know. And apparently, I Googled it. I was right about one of them, the hook being very much like Whitney Houston's "I Want to Dance with Somebody."
Oh my gosh! No wonder it sounded familiar.
Yeah. So when you hear the hook to "Permission to Dance," ask your mom. Like, Mom, does this sound like a familiar song? But I think it came out like the early '90s. It's Whitney Houston, "I Want to Dance with Somebody." And then the first few notes of "Permission to Dance" is actually coming from they're gonna hate me. The One Direction.
Yeah, One Direction.
"Steal My Girl." Dun 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 dun. It kind of plays a little differently.
That, and I was a huge Directioner in high school. Like I love.
Oh, you were. Yeah. So you'll recognize both of those songs.
Yes, I know both of those songs.
There's a great thing on YouTube. I'll send you the link personally. It's called. It kind of plays off of, like, for example, Steve Jobs saying "copy from the greats." So it's not like, okay, copying. It's a copy. No, it's not. It's a copy. But they like Ed Sheeran and BTS put their brains together, their life experiences together to create something new. It's like very recently, there's this whole adobo issue in the Philippines. Like, there's no one way to make adobo. Everyone takes, whether they're from Pampanga or Alabang or Davao or Mindanao or somewhere up north, or they're Filipino in Hawaii or Filipino in LA. They put their own flavor into making adobo. I feel like that's how music should be too, right? With
Yeah.
making music. So back to that with
not really stealing, it's sampling.
yeah, it's sampling. And it sounds great. You and I both like it. So 2 thumbs up for both of us for permission to dance. So back to specifically you with your latest track, Nevermind. Can you tell me more about that? I think Ate Eunice also produced that one as well.
She wrote it as well. So Nevermind is basically the polar opposite of Crash Landing. So Crash Landing obviously is that kind of love honeymoon phase, part of a relationship that you see from, you know, the budding relationship of Captain Ri and Yoon Se-ri from the K-drama. And it sounds weird. It's not, the songs aren't connected at all whatsoever. Like we didn't kind of do that on purpose. And it's funny because Nevermind was actually the first song that I had worked on with Ate Eunice and I had recorded with her. But yeah, so Nevermind is more of like a hugot song, I feel like. But
we all need one of those.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like especially when you're a young adult going through like a lot of feelings and relationships that don't work out, you kind of like realize your worth and you understand that you don't really need anybody who doesn't treat you the way you want to be treated and who doesn't love you properly. So you leave them and then you're like, okay, I got to work on myself. So that's kind of like the vibe and the message behind Nevermind.
Yeah, everyone needs that one major heartbreak, at least one major heartbreak in their life, right? And it works. I hate to say this, but if you're an artist like yourself, it might come to your favor. For example, John Mayer, I'm a huge fan of John Mayer. And whenever he goes through a relationship breakup, that's when he writes his best music. When he's happy, I'm not feeling his albums.
You don't like Happy John Mayer. You're not here for
No,
Happy.
I don't like Happy John Mayer. I'm here for a sad John Mayer, because that's when he writes his best music. That's what I feel like. But hopefully you don't have too many of those.
Yeah, like Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah, see, like I said, but Taylor Swift has a good mix of happy and good and fulfilling, and I was gonna say a curse word, but yes, we can do this type of thing. All right, my last and final question is I'm thinking, because I have 2 nieces, they're both in Las Vegas, and they look up to women like you. They're straddling 2 cultures. Regardless if you're straddling just one culture or 2 cultures, or know how many cultures, you're in your early 20s and you've got this great opportunity. Do you have any messages for younger Filipinas, for younger girls who want to kind of follow in your footsteps? Based on your experiences right now, if you could just sum it up somehow, as a 21-year-old, 22-year-old, where you are, like, how do I get to where you are right now?
I would have to say, even when you feel like you're doubting yourself, even when you feel the most insecure about, you know, what you're doing and you feel like you can't keep doing it, like you feel like you want to give up, you feel like you're not the best at what you do, there are going to be days where like you just feel like things are so slow and you're not accomplishing anything. But I think it's just really important to know that just getting up and doing one small thing that goes towards that big goal and that big future of yours is such a huge step. And just making sure that you keep at it, even when it's super, super hard. Because, I mean, we all go through those days, especially when you feel like you're competing with other people. I feel like really your only competition is yourself. So it's really about bettering yourself, working towards your goals, and not worrying about anybody else's paths. Because at the end of the day, you know, it's really up to you on how to make yourself happy, because you're the only person who knows how to do that.
Thank you. That's for everybody, actually, right? Baby steps and just always being better.
Yeah, definitely. And not doubting yourself. Because everyone goes through that, especially nowadays. It's so hard to find motivation in the pandemic.
Yeah, and you're scrolling, you're kind of like doom scrolling on your phone. You're like, oh, these people are living all these wonderful lives and getting all these new things. And here I am stuck at home, doom scrolling on my couch.
But you can't stop scrolling. That's the thing.
Yeah, you can't stop scrolling. But yes, again, ladies and gents, that was BEY. Listen to her new single, Nevermind. We'll be playing it on FM1. BEY, how do we connect with you on the internet?
Yes, so for any and all updates, you can follow me on my social media at Isabella Opascua and at It's BEY Music on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
All right, so BEY, guys, girls, BEY hasn't had dinner yet, so I'm going to let her go. Do what she says. listen to her music and add her up on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube to connect with her. And she's gonna go have some homemade adobo, her family's way. Bey, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and I wish you a wonderful week.
Thank you so much for having me again. It was a pleasure being here.
All right.
Shout out to Team Manila, available online through dailygrindstar.com, Team Manila Shopee, and Lazada stores.
Microphones on and camera set. We've heard their sound, and now it's time for us to ask around. FM1 Spotlight on Republika, exclusively on FM1.